So welcome back. We haven't done any videos for a while because actually the old Mercedes is a lot more reliable than the Land Rover, so we've not had to do quite so much maintenance. But unfortunately we now need to replace these rear brake pads. Car's done just over 60,000 kilometres, and whilst I don't have a lead foot when it comes to braking, because of the cruise control with the automatic braking and the electronic handbrake, they're getting quite worn now. So the car's going into its brake fluid change next week, so I'm just going to take the opportunity to change the pads slightly early, but they'll get done. So this very simple job. Let me have a look down here. I'll show you the parts you need. So you just need a torque wrench to take the wheels off. You need a T45 for undoing the caliper bolts. You'll need a 17mm socket, 17mm spanner as well. You will also need a star E10 size to remove the brake pad sensor, an 18mm socket if you're going to be removing the actual caliper holder, a brake pushing back in sort of tool thing, bungee or something similar to hold the caliper up once you take it off, and a torch. You need a little bit of brake cleaning fluid, some copper paste just for the edges of the brake pads, suitable brake pads. These are Bendix, which they're not Mercedes, but these I got are a quarter of the price, and they're OE, and they come as a set of 4. I've already put 2 on the other side, and they come with the new caliper bolts as well. And then you'll also need a new brake pad sensor. Now you can refit this, but I decided to buy a new one. The one that was on there, it was a good job it did, because the one that was on there actually came apart as I took it off. So top tip, get yourself one of those. So what have we done so far? We've jacked the car up, got our axle stand underneath, and the first thing we're going to do is we put the car in the brake mode, and I've done a video about that already to release the pads. Okay, so they're slightly looser. So we now need to remove this whole pad assembly. My mistake really, I did the other side first. I should probably have done this side first and videoed the other. I'd forgotten, of course, that the brake sensors are only on the other side of the car. But what you'll see is you'll see a little wire like this coming out, clipping into an assembly here, and it's a very simple push the tang down, release it, undo the star bolt just to and hold it out of the way to give yourself access. It's really, really simple. And then just unclip the little bung there just to give yourself a bit more access, and then you'll need to put a 17mm onto there like that. I'll take that off for a bit of clarity, and then T45 gum. You need to put that in there, sort of star fitting behind like that, and holding that, undo the 2 together. So there's one there, and then there's one down the bottom. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll come back to you once that's off. And I've taken the 2 nuts out. They're not very big and unusual for the sliding caliper bolts. They're actually just this little short bolt. As I say, the set I've got came with the new one, so we'll replace those. And they've just literally come out, and you can see because we've already released the caliper electronically. Obviously sometimes this, anybody does this normally will know that's normally really tight and you're fighting to lever it off. In this case, he says it's relatively simple, barring the connection there, to get that out. So we'll just hang that up now. So take your bungee, put it through the hole, and just find a suitable place to keep it up out of the way without any strain on the cables there. So all we need to do now is to lever these out. Now, what I found earlier was they are relatively free when they pop out. As you can see, just a bit of sliding. They should wiggle out. So yeah, as you can see, it looks quite chunky, but the half of that along there is where this ridge is already in, and the wear sensor is about a millimetre. Was about a millimetre off from the wear sensor on the other side. So that's one. And then the other one, it's a bit more tricky because you've kind of got to do this blind. So we'll block the camera slightly. And I'll pump that out. So you will notice that on these brake pads, one of them has these sort of little fork bit on there. And when the brake pad sensor comes out, see there's a little hole in there, okay? And what you do is you put the, I suppose the needle really of the sensor in there, and you push it down until it just clips into place. I'm not going to do this now because I don't want to damage this sensor. I've got this for the next time I use it. And it just slides in, okay? But that one is on the inside and will face that way, and then obviously you'll see that. So when you get the new pads, you've got to remember that this fork bit is on the inside. Now in theory you could just literally get your screwdriver and just scrape out all the dirt, give it a quick blush out and put the pads back on. But what I decided to do, and I think it was a good thing to do, was I actually took this carrier off, and I did this off the car because there's actually around the back there's quite a lot of brake dust in there that I noticed. So what you need to do is get an 18mm socket, and then just at the back, don't know if the camera can see where I've got that there, then actually all you do is there's a nut there and there's another one there, 18mm, crack those straight off, and then this will come straight off in the normal way. So we'll do that now, and then we'll come back to you once we've cleaned all this up and made it look nice. Right, so we've taken the caliper off, the caliper holder, caliper bracket, cleaned it all up, so got rid of all the brake dust and stuff in here, as you can see. Now I'm going to give you a really good top tip now, because I tried this on the car on the other side, and unless you're doing this on a ramp where you can see in from that side, you're working completely blind to put this, okay, the inside pad in the caliper. So what I'm going to try is we're going to put the caliper, sorry, we're going to put the pad in the caliper for this side, then put that on before we then put the caliper on, the brake pad on this side, and then put the caliper over it, because I think that'll make life a bit easier. So what you need to do is just get a tiny bit, now there's lots of arguments about this, but I always go with it, tiny bit of copper paste grease just on the moving parts there, and you can see that's a really light smear. Almost probably got too much on the screwdriver there, okay? So just a tiny bit, just to keep it nice and quiet when it moves within the caliper. And actually, even in the instructions in here, it says use it, so that's good enough for me. So what you then need to do, orientate myself right here, so that's there, like that. Now I found the easiest way this morning is you kind of need to press, hold, and then it slots in. I had a problem this morning in that this sort of lip here got caught on the outside of the brake pads and it splayed out. So I've now worked out the best way is to put it in like that with the flat bit, and that should guide in, or you have to hold it and really sort of squeeze in and then press. So I think that's going to work. I'm going to leave that just in, I don't want to put it in too far, sort of lined up there, and then that's the inside pad in, and that'll save me trying to work completely blind. And then it's just a case of taking your bolt, clean it up, put a bit of copper thread, bit of Loctite on it, put that in place, bolt it up, which we'll do now, and then once we've done that, we'll come back to you, we'll put the other pad on and close up the caliper and move from there. As you can see, what we've done now is I put the caliper retained bracket back in, just pull the brake pad over a little bit further, because obviously we've not put it all the way in, put this brake pad in the same. So the next task is to wind back in the caliper. So what you need to do is you need to make sure you've got yourself the correct wind back tool set. Now I picked this up on eBay. I think it's some kind of made in China cheap thing. This was about 20 euros, I think 25 euros, something like that, on Amazon. If I can find it, I'll put the link in the description of the video. And this has various different things, and there's a whole list of instructions here for depending what sort of car you've got, whether you need to On some cars you need to wind them in clockwise, some anti-clockwise. Now this is a clockwise set, this is a right hand set. You can get a left hand set as well, but in this case it's just a straight push in, so you just use this universal flat disc, whereas obviously the others, as you can see, have these various holes and bits and pieces to lock into various either holes in or holes coming out from the caliper, to then wind the brake caliper back in. What I've already done off camera is I've checked the brake fluid level. It's not really high. If it's really high in the car, what you'll need to do is just syringe off a little bit, because obviously when you push the caliper back in, you're pushing liquid back to the reservoir. But I've already taken care of that, and the cap is already off the brake fluid reservoir, so I'm not creating any pressure anywhere in the lines or within the seals here in the servo. That's really, really important. So what you do when you get this set of tools, so what you need to do is you need to thread this piece here over until you get to there, and you can see on there it says RH, so it's a right-handed thread. So as we wind it, it's turning that way clockwise. Okay, as I said, that's not important for ours. So we release the caliper, and then it does help if you have about four pairs of hands when you're doing this. But what you need to do is put that in there, just adjust this, it's a bit narrower. I'm sure you can get the idea. This, as this pushes back on that bit, it pushes the caliper in. So set. Right. So if the camera picks that up, what you'll see there is that is now over the piston, if you like. And as I turn this, I'm only literally, you can see, I'm just applying the tiniest amount of pressure here. That really is no effort. And if you watch the little notch there, you'll see it just going in to the housing. I could just do it with my little finger. I'm not putting any pressure on this at all. Okay, and you will soon feel where it stops going in. Okay, that's it, and then you just undo it, and that's you done. No messing around, very simple. And then if you want to, you can just get a brush in here, or I can't find it at the moment, we'll do it in a minute. Just get your little screwdriver in there, but obviously not near the rubber seals. Just clear out the claggage that's in there. You can see we've got a bit of sort of, I don't know what really, bit of brake dust, bit of sand, bit of mud. So we'll clean that up, and then once we've cleaned that up, all we then need to do is put that back over there. We take the two bolts that come with the new Loctite on it, put that through there, which is the reverse, as they say, of refitting. Tighten those up. If you've got your brake pad sensor that will be coming out through the hole there, reattach it, put back in with the star screw, and then you clip that back in. Once you've done that, you're good to go. Just check everything, make sure you've got no bits left over, put the wheel back on, torque it up, and then, very important of course, get back in the car, take it out of brake mode, and that's it really. That's how you change your brakes. That's taken us, I think, about 20 minutes, even with a couple of breaks for filming. So probably once you've done it once, yeah, you should be down to 15 minutes, and you can look forward to saving yourself a couple of £100 over going to the Mercedes dealer or your local motor park. Let us know in the comments, thumbs up if you like it, comments, etc. Always welcome. Like, subscribe, recommend the channel, spread the word, and we'll see you next time we're doing some work on the car. Take care for now.